2 cent. My name is Paul Emerson. As always, I will be giving you my 2 cent. Hold on, my music is a little too loud. It's a Runday. Um, I have successfully began video game design. I'm currently enrolled into Full Sail University on the GI Bill with full BAH benefits from the 6 years of service that I had in the Army. Halfway through my career in the military, I still had a strong desire to get married, so I did that. So I've never really okay. So I've always wanted to be a husband and father. That was the thing that I had always wanted from as young as I can remember, and it just didn't work out. I'm just gonna. The world has changed. The world has evolved. The values are not what they used to be. I grew up. My father was married to my stepmother. My father loved my mother, but he was married to my stepmother, and I grew up in the household with my father as a husband for 10 years, and that's something that I had wanted and desired. On top of wanting to design video games, at once I reached the age of after the adversities of high school and not really being allowed to be on the path that I wanted to be on because I was a kid, I decided I wanted to get into video game design. I like writing stories and I like playing video games, so I combined the two. I loved physics and chemistry and theoretical physics and I love creating stories and writing lore and coming up with backstories, and that was just who I was. Even if the people around me didn't understand, that was just the person that I was. I wasn't out being all violent, trying to murder and kill people. I wasn't raping people. I wasn't screaming and yelling at the world and trying to get people to understand my side of the world and understand and respect my point of view. I was just being me, just chilling, accepting people for who they are and not being accepted for who I wanted to be, for who I was and who I wanted to be. So life happened. I wound up having to pay child support, which financially hindered my ability to achieve anything. No one cared, so I learned to function with a deficiency. I learned to function with financial handicap. Um, the adversities of trying to pay child support and having my daughter's mother go out of her way to destroy my character, disenfranchise me so she could get a little bit of extra money, resulted in unnecessary hardship. So I enlisted to the Army. I didn't have very many options, so I enlisted to the Army. And then once I enlisted to the Army, I wasn't there for anything other than to pay child support. I got tired of explaining to people that child support is an adversity. It's a difficult thing to deal with. It's hard to pay rent or pay bills or have money in your pocket when the government is taking 51% of your income. People don't understand what 51% means. 51% is not $10. 51% is not $100. 51% means that whatever you're making, you're going to get half. So if I was making $5.50 an hour, and they adjusted my support at the time back in 2022 to $7.40 an hour. So half of $5.50 is $2.75. That's what I was making per hour. $2.75 an hour. And then on top of making $2.75 an hour, I wasn't getting paid 40 hours a week. I wasn't working 40 hours a week. That's the reason why. The reason why I was able to work in McDonald's and Arby's, I thought it was because of the Army. But the sad reality is that I enlisted to the Army because I always worked two jobs. Working in the Army I enlisted to the Army so I would only have one job. The more I think about it, that's actually the reasoning behind why I went to the military. Because I always worked two jobs. I never got enough hours, and I was always underpaid. So to avoid being arrested for not having any money or going to jail because I couldn't afford food, or losing my job because I don't have a place to maintain my hygiene, I was like, the best option is just to go in the military. I'm not trying to destroy the world. I'm not trying to argue and fight with people. I'm not trying to be oppositional to anything, but I have a right to function in society. And if I can't function in society because the people around me are more concerned about their own well-being than they are at making sure that I'm okay, then I might as well go fight America's war so that I can continue to live. If they're gonna make me if I'm gonna be a federal employee, I might as well. If I'm gonna be a federal prisoner, I might as well just be a federal employee. And if I'm gonna have to fight for my life, instead of fighting against a country that doesn't give a damn about me, I might as well fight alongside a country that doesn't give a damn about me, because nobody else cares. The rest of the people around me don't care. So I don't want to go off into war and destroy other people's homes and livelihoods. But at the same time, I have a right to function and survive in society. And if society doesn't care about my right to function and survive in society, why should I spare society from my raft when it comes to my own prosperity and my own desire for greatness? So with all of that reasoning, I enlisted into the military and learned a new skill set. I learned a new skill set. I learned how to function below. I learned to function at the expectation level with the handicap. I learned how to be handicapped in a society. I learned how to be able-bodied with disability status while maintaining my disability status, while simultaneously functioning at the expectation level for somebody that knows that they're not handicapped. I know that I can walk, but you want me to crawl. So I learned how to crawl so that you could get your validation. And then when you weren't around to see me, to acknowledge the fact that I can walk, then I would walk. And then I would walk. And then when somebody would see me walking, they'd be like, hey, you're supposed to be crawling. I would get back down and crawl again. Because at the end of the day, what is the goal? The goal is to design video games and to be a husband and a father. So once I reached a point in my career to where I found stability, I decided maybe I should, continue to try to get married. Maybe that's not a terrible idea. Now that I have the things that I need to be able to be that person, why not just do that? And then that's when I started dating my now wife, at the time friend. But the problem isn't that. The issue is when you are open and honest with somebody in a world where everyone knows that everyone else is lying, right? Like, I spend my entire life being honest. Anyone that knows me personally knows that one of the things that I don't do is lie. Everyone knows that. Like, you don't lie. And the reason why I don't lie is because it's a lot easier just to let other people not believe you than it is to constantly tell falsehoods. Because you know the truth. You know where you parked your car. You know if you were up all night masturbating. You know if you cheated on your exam. You know that you stole that cookie when you were 4. You know all of your truths. So why constantly have to defend your own truths against people that aren't going to believe you either way? If you can't walk up to somebody and be honest with them and let them acknowledge you for who you are, then what is the point? Like, what is the goal of having an interaction and an exchange with people if they're only going to take what you say, translate it into their minds into a format that they can understand and acknowledge and are willing to accept, right? And this is the reason why the idea of racism is so dangerous. Because if the only thing that you can accept is somebody that looks like you, then you're surrounded by people that don't look like you, and you're pretending like you care about them, that you're invested in them, that you're interested in what they're trying to do with their lives. And it's counterproductive, because at the end of the day, if you don't want to be surrounded by people that don't look like you, stay away from people that don't look like you. It's not my responsibility to make people that have a problem with my skin complexion comfortable. It's not my job or my responsibility. It's counterproductive to what I'm trying to do in my life, because if I'm not hating on people based on all of those things that are listed off in your application, then why should I have to be the one that has to constantly stand on divine principles to navigate a world that has all the odds stacked against me because they're not comfortable? Why are you not comfortable? Like, what did your parents do to you, or what did you choose for yourself for you not to be comfortable on that level? I overcame all of the bullshit that I dealt with in life, but I'm constantly told that I didn't. I'm constantly told that the failing is my inability to drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, fornicate, gamble, sell drugs, all of the things that we are taught that we shouldn't do. We're constantly given values of right and wrong, and we're expected to function in wrong while simultaneously pretending to be right and good people. And anytime somebody comes around you that are objectively true to values of legality, morality, and ethics, you have an uncomfortable feeling about them. That's my story. Like, why is it my fault that I want to be honest? Why is it my fault that I want to be truthful? Why is it a problem for you that I live in reality? You know what I'm doing right now? I don't know if you can see it. I'm sleeping in my car because the relationship that I have with my wife, I got evicted. Whose fault is it? It's my fault. What was I trying to do? Be a genuinely honest, loyal, respectful, providing husband. And she didn't care. She took advantage of it. She didn't fucking care. And the society says it's your fault. You were the man. Everything's your fault. It's all you. No matter what happens in your relationship with a woman, you are 100% accountable and 100% responsible for your inability to take care of your wife and satisfy her infinite desires. And it's kind of stupid, you know, like at the end of the day, it's kind of dumb because you look at me and you say, well, you must have did something wrong. There's something that you're not saying. There's something that happened that you don't want to explain. The truth of the matter is that we all know that some people are good and some people are bad. We all know that some people were good and some people were evil. My wife chose to be more on the side of not good and not honest than she did to be good and honest. And she spent our entire marriage trying to corrupt me into being somebody that I'm not. I don't have time to be sitting around lying and exaggerating. I just don't. I just don't. I spent enough of my life functioning as an honest and decent person that there's no need for me to lie. There's no need. What am I lying on the application for? What am I going to gain from trying to cheat a system that's designed to make sure that I fail? There's nothing to gain. But that's what she expects of me. That's what she wants of me. And so now here I am at college and I have an eviction because I sent all my money to my wife instead of paying my rent. And my wife was 100% against me having my own apartment. She felt like at the age of 41, I should have been living with my mother. And it's like, no matter what I say or what I do, I'm always going to be the problem. I'm always going to be not good enough. It's always going to be spun in such a way that I need to understand why the decision I made is the wrong decision. And what it really boils down to is our ability to process information is subjective to ourselves. So when someone tells you something, you're like, I wouldn't do that way. I would do it this way because you're an individual. There's nothing wrong with you doing something your way, but your way is not the best way. My way is not the best. If you really listen to anything I say on my 2 cents, I don't try to tell people what to do. I just share information because you can't make a sound decision in life if you aren't able to have all the information. Me sleeping in my car last night, I was chilling. I was content with life. No problems, no adversities. Florida is nice and warm. I was perfectly content. I was less stressed sleeping in that car, knowing that I don't have any income right now other than my BAH. And I might not even get BAH if I don't have an actual address. One of the contingencies to get BAH is you might actually have to have an address. But I'm in a position right now to exhaust the little bit of savings that I have and then wind up in debt, or sleep in that car for a few months and then pay off the debts that I already have accumulated so that I can have the financial freedom that I need to achieve the goals that I set for myself. Because at the end of the day, I was working 2 jobs 7 days a week. And if I can work 2 jobs 7 days a week and run every 3 days, there is absolutely no reason why I can't just go to college full time to do something that I love. There's no longer a need for me to give energy to my wife because she's made it perfectly clear that I'm not good enough for her. She doesn't want a husband that wants to be honest and kind and respectful. She just doesn't. She tried everything in her power. My wife did everything except for just say she didn't want to marry me. Like, she could have just made it real simple by just saying, I don't want to marry you. But she didn't want to have to process that. She didn't want to have to deal with the reality of that. She'd rather just be married to somebody that she doesn't actually care about and waste both of our time in the process. All because of what? Because I wanted to be a loving husband and a loving father. Well, why is that such a bad thing? Why? Like, I don't understand. So, I can rant and rave all day long. The gist of the story is that Full Sail University chapter has begun. Detroit is no longer a thing. I've been reflecting over the last 2 days, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And the conclusion I've come to is I'm just going to do what I've always done. I don't see any reason to try to change or adjust or adapt to a broken society. Well, society's not broken. And basically what I mean is that I spent 2 years of my life, I spent the vast majority of my life working homeless. So why wouldn't I just go to school homeless? Why wouldn't I just go to school and not have a place to stay? I spent the vast majority of my time in the military, not in the barracks. So I know how to function without an actual place to call my own. And if I stay at Full Sail for 2 years and do that, just like I did in the military, and save the BAH, pay off the debts that I have from child support, I can leave this school with an 820 credit score. I'll be 40, 45, 44, 45. My credit score can go up to 820. And I will have a degree in game design from one of the best schools in the industry. All I have to do is stay focused. It's really just a matter of time. So I've got 22 months to manage to get from where I am right now, which is this spot. This is the spot where I am right now, to where I want to be, which is self-employed designing video games. I want to employ people, probably people that look like me, start a production studio. My wife was against it. She told me that I couldn't do it and that I would be a failure. And yeah, and then bring back the industry, bring back video games the way they used to be, because they're missing in the world. So the gaming industry is starting to slowly crumble around its own decadence, and I have the vision and the passion to fix it. That's the goal, you know. As always, my name has been Paul Emerson. My name is Paul Emerson, and I have given you my 2 cents. I'm supposed to run, but I don't know what the route should be. I'm thinking just this parking lot. It's probably a lot of laps, though. I don't really want to run in a circle. I think I know what I'm going to do.
Lap 1. Lap pace 10 minutes 2 seconds. 1 mile.
Oh my God. And do I stop and fail? Or do I do this for 12 more times? Let's see how I feel. A place I know I really shouldn't go, but I'm here, later, glad. There's a place in my head, place I know I really shouldn't go, but I'm easily led. Think I have a problem, so you know, and you turn a blind eye. This just another phase going through. What good is good life? Worth of me. ran from the truth of 1,000 lies. Have mercy come and watch away. In this farewell, there's no blood, there's no alibi. 'Cause I shall regret from the truth of 1,000 lies. Oh, let mercy come and wash away what I've done. I raise myself as long left, right or left, keep it in there, left, keep it in there. We lot of double time, we do it all the time. Up in the morning for a day, I don't like it, no way. I ate my breakfast too darn soon. Hungry as a hound dog by noon. burning, reducing the stigma. Until then, in this house of shame. Why? Nothing to say. What's my fate? For the reason feeling so deranged, I will stay here and haunt you forever. I don't have the darkness cover. Hey, come.
Lap 2. 12 minutes 24 seconds. Total 22 minutes 17 seconds. 2 miles. Halfway point reached.
Why? I don't understand why I deleted the messages. If I deleted your messages, I'm sorry. I don't know why YouTube. I can't run and respond to the live streams. My goal is not to be an asshole or be disrespectful. I'm just recording data. So, I don't know. My phone is doing this because I'm running. Stay calm. You will find again. No filter. What are you doing? Any messages that were deleted, I apologize. I usually don't have anyone watching the videos anyway, so I usually don't care. It's ironic that I get actual comments for a change and YouTube is like, delete, 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 delete. Me there again. I'm out of shape. After that 12 mile, I packed my stuff as much as I could get in that car and I drove up to Full Sail. My first class is on Monday, so and the horizon. The goal is not to fail. The goal is always to be successful, no matter your adversities. Pretending that I'm not tired isn't gonna make me have the energy and endurance I need to run a 4 mile like I usually would today. But accepting that I don't have what it takes to run a 4 mile when I have done it every day for the last 6 months is failure of the mind. And your goal in life should always be to improve on something that you're doing. The adversities of my life is why I'm tired. Not because I don't have the strength, but because of all of the extra unnecessary stuff. Which is why I keep commenting on my wife, because her influence carries the most amount of weight. And a lot of men, I'm assuming now that I've actually experienced marriage, get destroyed by this underscore of the reality of being in a relationship with a woman that we don't want to address, because women have vilified and demonized us so much that when you find yourself being told to be more than you are, when you should be accepted by the person that is supposed to love you the most, what do? You know, and then all we see are the stories of domestic violence, you know, men murdering their wives and their children. And they don't talk about the every journey begins with a single step. So no one talks about all of the excessive manipulation and the excessive deceit, the constant attack of a man's character and the emotional manipulation that comes with that. Because a woman, the same way that a woman can show up to a date and be kind and respectful and humble for the first week or 2 weeks or a month in that relationship, and then decide, okay, let me be the bitch that I have been hiding for the last month. And then the guy is like, I didn't agree to this. He's the one that's toxic, right? Like, you've been pretending to be somebody that you're not for the last week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And now you want to change who you are and then expect me not to also adapt and change to your energy. If you're a respectful person, then I'm going to treat you with respect. And if you see me not responding kindly to the disrespect around me, why would you want to feel like you should have the right to be the one that's going to disrespect me when I don't even tolerate that shit from the Army? I don't even let my leaders disrespect me. I told Sergeant Hunt, he did something. I can't even remember what he did, but he played me. Like, what he did, I can't remember the exact details, but basically, me and him had a verbal understanding. We had a verbal man-to-man understanding. And when we stepped to the side to have our discussion, he acted like he understood the terms and conditions of this dynamic. But then when he got around everybody else, he wanted to try to play me like I was a kid. Like, I'm not a little, I'm 30, I was 34 when I enlisted. Like, at the time I was probably like 30, 36 or 37. It's like, I'm not a little kid. You don't have to, all these little manipulation tactics that you use on children, I don't need any of that. So what are you doing? So you know what I did? He wanted to treat me like shit in front of every fucking body. The first sergeants, the sergeant majors, all of the leaders, the E8s and all of that, like all of the NCOs were there. And it's like, why are you talking to me like I'm a little kid? Why are you trying to pretend like the conversation me and you just had isn't why I'm behaving the way that I'm behaving right now, right? You gave me instructions on how to treat you with dignity and respect so that we wouldn't have a misunderstanding. And all of a sudden you want to flip the script. So you know what I did? I went to fucking parade rest and I said, you know what, Sergeant Hunt, fuck you. Fuck you, Sergeant Hunt. Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to be grown men. We're supposed to be doing the same stuff. We're supposed to be on the same page. We're supposed to be serving the Army and doing what's supposed to be done for this country. But we're not doing any of that crap because you want to be all in your ego. You want to make me understand that you're in charge. I don't give a damn about you being in charge because who's going to do the work? I'm going to do the work. It doesn't matter if you're in charge if I don't do the work. And what are you going to do? Write me up? Give me a negative counseling statement? Recommend me for UCMJ action? Like, what does any of that mean? It means that you're going to replace me because I don't want to do what you're asking me to do because you don't know how to talk to people with another human being, and you haven't learned anything. You haven't grown and evolved or changed or adapted as a person of a position of authority. So with that energy, the next person that shows up, it's going to have the same, you're going to have the same problem with that person that you're having with me, unless that person has a lower legality, morality, and ethical vibration like you. And it's not okay. It's not okay for people that are vibrating on wrongness to constantly try to force somebody that wants to be right to lower their standards in life to be a part of a broken group. Because those same people that are going to throw you under the bus, they're not going to have your back. They're not going to come up the bat for you and say, yeah, I said this, I said that. That's not going to happen. The only person that's ever done it in my life was my staff sergeant. He's the only one that ever did that. We were in the field and something went down and he like, Emerson, I need you to get rid of all of this food. And I'm like, all right, I understand that. So he was getting an inspection by his aide. And his aide came out and saw me throwing all the extra food away. And his aide is like, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, why is this soldier out here doing this? And he like, he kind of misunderstood what I said. That's my fault. That was a misunderstanding on my behalf. I didn't give him a clear enough direction on what needed to happen with that food, you know. I had needed him to throw this away, but not all of it, and he misunderstood. He didn't sit there and try to pretend like it was all me, like I'm this autonomous, crazy psychopath robot doing whatever the fuck I want to do. He took ownership at his level for his part of what was happening. And then later he pulled me to the side like, man, I wanted you to do that later, like after they were gone. Like, why'd you do it like right now? And I was like, sorry, you know, when you tell me to do something, I do it immediately. And he's like, yeah, I'm not used to that. You know, like, I'm not used to that. I'm used to telling people to do stuff like 5 times. I mean, he didn't say that, but his relationship with soldiers is like, if I tell soldiers to do some work, they're not going to do it when I tell them. They're going to wait a few hours, you know. So he told me in an appropriate amount of time to get it done later, but I don't move that way, and I've never moved that way. So that's just the reality of the world, you know, the inability for us to function at the normal level, which is why that's the foundation of my 2 cents. Why is it so difficult to just communicate? We have evolved to be the most, when it comes to communication, humanity has evolved to be at the apex of it, outmatched by no other life form on this planet. Yet for some reason we fell at the very thing that we specialized in. I give up. I'm not gonna finish the run. I need to go make myself presentable. As always, my name is Paul Emerson. I was giving you my 2 cents.